This just in. RBC TD leads 51% rise in tar sand investing. Biggest bank funding climate chaos. Canada's big five banks have put $910.84 billion in fossil fuels since the Paris Agreement was signed in 2016. Read the Banking on Climate Chaos Report 2022. bankingonclimatechaos.org. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the International Energy Agency, and countless others say we must dramatically scale back investments in development of fossil fuels of all kinds. This is from the Nelson Chapter Council of Canada, Canadians.org. Leave oil and gas in the ground. Defund climate chaos. Last year, Canada's five biggest banks all pledged to be net zero by 2050. At the same time, RBC, Scotiabank, CIBC, TD, and the Bank of Montreal all increased their fossil fuels financing, offering a combination of $165 billion to oil and gas clients. If money talks, then Canada's big five banks all say they want the planet to burn, baby burn. Keith Stewart of Greenpeace. I've noticed a huge increase in trees being cut down around my parts. Like I'm not taking anything. I don't even know anything about any of this, to be honest. These are just people standing out front of the RBC passing these out. And they were not happy about this, right? So, but from my perspective of what I see in my own world and what I have seen, is the trees are being cut like crazy, and this is not sustainable. And it seems like to me they're running out of here as fast as possible. They know that they're about to be shut down because the new environmental minister is from Greenpeace. So if this is the case, they know they're about to lose their golden goose, right? So now they're trying to harvest as much golden eggs as possible, and I see that happening. And I've seen the videos on Google Map that from just after the beetles came in, the pine beetles, I believe they were, and they all got all these licenses to harvest these trees before they were destroyed by the beetles. And I understand the idea behind that, because that's, what do we gotta sacrifice. If we don't get these trees, they're all gonna die. The biggest problem with that ideology is that they were handling only certain trees. There's many trees in the forest, and we have natural flows to things. If beetles are coming, you guys are clear cutting trees, and you got rights to do that because you said that the beetles were going to destroy them. I'm sorry, but this is how corruption finds little holes and ways to get in. And if you watch what happened around Vancouver and stuff, an overhead video, when you see the floods that happened, it's a multiple prong thing. I'm not saying it was because of all the trees they were cutting, but if there was more trees, there would have been less flooding, because that's how it works, right? So I do understand that these things are happening, and I was a bit frustrated hearing Jordan Peterson in a podcast recently, and I'll place that podcast below, kind of downplaying anything we need to worry about. He did talk about like the oceans and the fish and stuff like that, but he lives out in Ontario, and he's not on the ground here in BC where we see this shit happening to our trees here, right? I respect him very much, but I want him, I have sent him a message, and I'm trying to talk with him. Obviously he's a busy guy. I'm not expecting anything back. However, we need to know that there's people on the ground, and these people are talking, and him up in his ivory tower, even though he's trying to be in the middle, he needs to realize we need advocates for on the ground also. And the oil and gas thing, we need to move away from burning fossil fuels. we're burning fossil fuels. This is just because of corruption. They've had electric cars for over 100 years, and still we haven't switched over yet. This is because these old dinosaurs that have been running this country are like want to keep the things they own and the infrastructure they've built running until the very end. And so they are, I he says if money talks, then Canadian five big banks are saying they want the planet to burn, baby, burn. Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, these old dinosaurs, these huge corporations that are tied in with the banks, yes. So yes, I'd say 90% that's a true statement, but maybe not. I don't know. Like I'm just if I were to say yes, corruption is reigning, I think things are changing right now. Like I said, they're running away, taking much trees. They're getting chased out of the room, and they're grabbing as much furniture as they can before they are thrown out on the streets. Is how I see it. So people have to be patient. However, we need to stop these freaking free for all on our trees. You know, I see these giant trees getting pulled out, right? And it bothers me. It's like we need to find sustainable ways to do the trees. And then we can't just stop cutting trees either, because then what are we going to do to build our homes? And then homes are more expensive, then we have more people on the streets, so we have to come up with plans. Well, hemp is the plan for that. It's building material. It's also ways to get away from plastics, which are made by our hydrocarbon or our oils and stuff, right? At the same time, we can't just stop right now. Like, I look at what they're saying here, and they're like, they said they were gonna stop by 2050. Well, I think we have time to switch over by 2050, right? So it's almost like, and I did go over and talk to these people, and I started talking to them. I'm like, we need. You're right. We need to switch over. We need to stop burning fossil fuels, right? We need to, but however, we need to do it. I started to talk about what happened in China, where they tried to switch over to the Industrial Revolution. They did it so quick, and 100 million people died. I know there's a lot more axioms to and reasons why that happened. However, in this situation, look at these. It doesn't matter. I don't want to be an ageist, but this does matter because they were all about. Nobody there standing there was under 70, and like most of them probably don't even drive anymore and don't even know what the gas prices are, right? And they probably don't know what's going on in the world, and we don't even know what's really going on in the world. We just know what's being fed to us through our phones. So when we see an investment going into oil, maybe we should wonder, are we getting cut off from some foreign oil, or maybe this needs to happen? Like, is this a necessary evil for a long-term good, right? Because we do want to switch over to electric cars and burning maybe and making all our stuff from hemp and such. And they're like, and they just weren't having this like the idea they needed done now with these people. And I was like, well, you should come and talk to me. I'm opening up across the street, and I'm teaching about like hemp and cannabis, and I went to pass, and they're like, no, cannabis, hemp, blah blah blah, and they just turned right away. And I was like, well, see, these are your options for us to switch over. So that's when I realized I was just standing with a bunch of people that were pissed off that they probably got that they needed something to fight against, right? They lacked any uh, competence in the understanding of what they're even saying. They're just critics, not constructive critics, right? They wouldn't even talk to me about the fact that we do need to do this, but we need to do it properly, right? So these were the oldest protesters I've ever seen, and I wasn't going to argue with them. Obviously, we don't. They need their journey. They need their hero's journey even if it's based in, even though they're naive in their thinking, right? And so I agree. We have to start to fund some renewable sources. let's just do it the right way. And I'm not saying I have the competencies. I'm just saying that I know whenever we tried to move our systems too quickly, it's been disastrous in the past. So let's become constructive critics if we're going to be criticizing things, you know. And the only reason I'm making these videos is that my house is clean, right? My plants are planted and happy. My business is opened up on Baker Street. My dogs are happy and fed. You know, that's why I want to start cleaning up my community, and I want to start cleaning. I want to start working on ways of understanding things like this, right? You know, much love. If you feel like supporting this channel, give me an email at melatonic@protonmail.com. Thank you. Have a lovely day.